In this brief lecture, I will discuss the commutators arised in the quantum mechanics. To begin with, let us take the form of the commutator bracket A, B. A and B are two operators. So A, B within the bracket, it is called the commutator bracket, is equal to A operating on B minus B operating on A. It is not necessary that those operations are equal. If it is not equal, that is AB is not equal to BA, then you will get AB commutator bracket not equal to 0. And if the commutator bracket is 0, then you certainly write that A operating on B means B operating A are the same operators. Okay, so then A and B operator will be called as commutating operators or compatible operators. Okay, so these terms will appear very frequently in our forthcoming lectures, so be familiar with this. Now take some problems on commutator. First, show that commutating operators, that is compatible operators, have common set of eigenfunctions. If two operators are commutating to each other, then they will have simultaneous eigenfunction, that is common set of eigenfunctions. So let A operating on psi producing A into psi. A is the eigenvalue and psi is the wave eigenfunction, and if we operate B from the left of this equation, then left will be BA psi is equal to A is a scalar, so it will come out. So A is a constant, not only scalar, it is a constant. So A will be come out of the B operator, so B operating on psi in the right hand side. And now if A and B are commutating, it is given in the problem, so A and B are commutating, so you can write in place of BA, AB. So AB operating on psi give you AI, that is eigenvalue, B psi. Now what is B psi? B is an operator and psi is the eigenfunction, so B psi is again a function, new function. So you can think of that B psi is again an eigenfunction of A corresponding to that eigenvalue AI. So psi, we began with the psi as the eigenfunction of the eigenvalue AI, but here you can see that B psi again the eigenfunction corresponding to AI. If AI eigenvalue is non-degenerate, that is it doesn't have a number of wave functions or the eigenfunctions corresponding to that eigenvalue, I will come into my next lecture to discuss detail in the degeneracy and non-degeneracy, but for the time being, for your sake of understanding, just remember that non-degenerate means the eigenvalue is non-degenerate, means that eigenvalue corresponds to an unique eigenfunction, and if it is degenerate, then that eigenvalue can be a product of different eigenfunctions. So B psi is an eigenfunction, it is no doubt, but as I have written here that AI is the non-degenerate eigenvalue, so B psi cannot be equal to psi. So B psi, we can take B psi is equal to some multiplicative constant into psi. If you put back into this equation will be invariant, because BB will be cancelled from the two sides of this equation. So equation will be AB psi is equal to small AB psi. So you can take B psi. Now what is this equation looks like to you? So B psi is equal to small b psi. It is again an eigenvalue equation with small b as the eigenvalue corresponding to that eigenfunction psi what we have begun with. So psi is the eigenfunction of A with the eigenvalue a small a, and also the eigenfunction of B operator, capital B operator, with the eigenvalue small b. So it happened because AB are commutating operators. So in brief, we can say if the operators A and B are commutating or compatible operators, then they should have a simultaneous eigenfunction if they produces some non-degenerate eigenvalues. Okay. This is the proof. Now let us this example. Let us take this example where alpha is an operator del x and beta is another operator del 2 del x2, and show that they are commutating operators. So first take a function fx and operate alpha beta on it. It will give you del 3 f del x3, and if you take the reverse order beta alpha operating on f, it will produce same. So alpha beta minus beta alpha operating on fx will give you the result 0. So alpha beta is equal to beta alpha, that is the commutator bracket is 0, that means they are commutating operator. This is the proof. And if you take alpha is equal to x and beta is equal to ddx, then alpha beta operating on fx will give you x into df dx. But when you take beta alpha operating on fx, it will give you ddx operating on x fx. Now x operator is multiplying operator, you know, because we are all here representing or writing the operators in the position representation. So momentum representation, we are not going into that. So in the position representation, x operator is multiplying operator, so x into fx will be there. It has been discussed, that position representation and momentum representation has been discussed in my previous lecture, you can follow it. So if x into fx is a new function on which ddx will operate, so it will give you, in the method of UV method, this will give you two terms. So if you subtract both the terms, that is alpha beta minus beta alpha operating on fx, it will give you minus fx. So minus 1 into fx you can write. So in place of alpha beta minus beta alpha, there is an operator minus 1. So they are not commutating because it is not 0. Okay, it is written over here. So x and dx do not commute to each other. This is the very useful result to explain why the commutation between position and momentum, the position and momentum operators do not commute. Let us start from this commutator bracket. X operator p operator minus p operator x operator operating on psi xt is a wave function. So you know the form of p, which is minus I h cut del x in the position representation, and x operator is multiplying x. So operating on this is the same as I have discussed in the above case, but there ddx, just multiply ddx with minus I h cut, you will get the result, that is x px, that is x comma p. It is actually the x component of the momentum. So x comma p is equal to I h cut. So it is not commutating operator. So we can say that the position operator and momentum operator are not commuting to each other. That means they do not have the simultaneous eigenfunctions. So they will not have the same eigenfunction. Okay, if they commute, then they should have simultaneous eigenfunctions. So one function can be used for both the eigenvalue equation corresponding to x and p, but it is not in this case. Now the show that the commutators are representation independent. I have talked about that. I am writing those operators in the position representation, but what happened when the momentum representation has been used? The answer is commutators will be invariant under the any kind of representation. That is, it is to be proved. Now for this, let us now prove xp, that is x operator and p operator in the momentum representation Now start from here. X comma p operating on psi p. Psi p is the eigenfunction in the momentum representation. As I have discussed in my previous class, it is Fourier transform of the position representation of psi, that is psi r. So x comma p operating on psi, that is xp psi minus px psi. Now put the expressions for x in momentum representation is I h cut del p. I have proved it in my previous class. And p is multiplying here, so p is small p, it is multiplying here, so p into psi on which del p will operate, give you two terms in UV method, and the last thing is p into del psi del p. So these two terms will cancel each other, this will be cancelled each other, so the rest result will be I h cut psi p. If you cancel the psi p, then the commutator bracket will be equal to I h cut. So xp is I h cut in position representation, as I have proved in my earlier problem, and xp in the momentum representation also I h cut. So the results are more representation independent, and it should be so because those results can be verified experimentally also. Those results are useful. You will get some expectation value are related with the commutator bracket. I will show it in my later lectures that expectation value can arise, can give you some expectation value of some operator. So those operators, those things can be experimentally verified. So experiment doesn't know whether you are coming from the momentum representation or the position representation, so they has to be same to each other. Now the some important, very important relations of commutator brackets here, that is AB is equal to minus of BA, that is it can be proved very easily. Next thing is distributive law, A comma BC is equal to A comma B commutator operating on C plus B operating on A comma C commutator bracket. So it can be proved like this. Just expand the bracket, that is A comma BC will be ABC minus BCA. Now add and subtract the same term BAC, and now it is order. I have not written here the cap sign, the operator signs are not there, but it should be understood that those are here. Because of that we cannot write it BAC in place of CAB, we cannot write it, okay, or we cannot write it ABC. So you have to be careful in writing those. You have to put a cap sign on the above. For the sake of simplicity of my writing, I have avoided this. Now these two terms were there and two new terms are there, and now take this term ABC and this term BSC together, sorry, not this, minus BSC together, and these two terms together. So C will be common from the right hand side, and here you can see from two terms B will be common from the left hand side. So take the common, and this is nothing but the commutator bracket between A and B, and this is the commutator bracket between A and C. So the results has been proved. Now the distributive law, A plus B comma C plus D will give you four commutator brackets differently, A comma C plus A comma D plus B comma C plus B comma D, and it can be proved very easily. Now fourth relation is very important. What is that? Yes, AB comma CD is equal to can be distributed into four different commutators. Okay, this is proved very methodically. First, AB comma CD is expanded keeping in mind that AB, we are taking AB as one operator. A operator into B operator is a different new operator, so take AB as new operator, and then follow this formula. A comma BC is your A comma B C plus B A comma C. So think A in place of AB. So A comma C operating on D plus C operating on A comma D, that is here A is your AB, so put it down. And now just expand this thing using again the example number 2, so it will give you 2 terms again, and then expand these brackets, then it will be 4 terms. This will be very useful. These are the very useful formula, and this will be remembered as well. Now prove the commutation relation x comma y x comma z will be 0. Px py, that is the x component of momentum and y component of momentum, are commutating operators. So those operators, that is x y, y z, zx, they should have simultaneous eigenfunction. Similarly px py pz, they should have simultaneous eigenfunctions also. And it is to be proved. Now first, fx can be a single valued continuous function of x, and now operate x y on f, it will give you 0 straight away, because they are multiplying operator. 2 scalar will be x y, yx is multiplying here, it is not operator, here it is operator. See there, here x cap y cap minus y cap x cap on f is equal to here x cap y cap on f minus y cap x cap on f, but as they are multiplied operator, so x cap will be x, y cap will be y, here the caps are not there. Okay, so be careful while studying this, because I have missed those cap terms. So here, because of that, yx is written as xy, because y cap is y, x cap is x, multiplying operator, so then yx can be rotated into xy. So these are not operator, these are functions, so they can be cancelled and give you the result 0. Similarly yz and zx will be 0. Similarly px py, here there is no confusion, these are the operators, and put the values of forms of px py in operator form. Minus h cut has been taken common to out of the bracket, and now it is del 2 del x del x del y, and it is del 2 del y del x, and they are commutating, we know, so this will be cancelled and result will be 0. So the rest of 2 can be proved. Now these results, that is these 2 set of results, okay, these 2 results can be sum up into simple form using Kronecker delta. Here rj comma pk, those are operator, is equal to ih cut Kronecker delta jk. If jk are not equal to each other, so this will be 0, and j and k you can see x y z, that is rx ry rz are there. So rx means your x cap operator, ry means y cap operator, and rz cap means z operator. So I have shown you that if x comma px is there, so result will be ih cut, and you can see from here. And for the coordinates, they are commutating, and between the momentum they are also commutating, so they are immaterial, they are 0. Whether those indices are equal to each other or not equal to each other, the results will be 0. And these relations are often called canonical commutation relation. Okay, the relation between momentum and position, you know from classical mechanics, those are known as in case of Hamilton's equation, those are called canonical equations, and in case of quantum mechanics, there is no such equation, but these are such equations regarding the position and momentum, so they are called canonical commutation relation. Now proof that Lx operator, Ly operator commutator is equal to ih cut Lz operator. Okay, and following the cyclic rule, you can prove this other two commutation bracket. So begin with Lx comma Ly, and the operator form I have shown you in my previous lecture, that is ypz minus zpy, and this is zpx minus xpz, and those are operators. And so write down the whole thing, that is the whole commutator bracket using the formula AB minus BA, it is written over here, and now expand all terms. This will give you 4 terms and this will give you 4 terms, so 8 terms are there, see, and in proper order you should write it. Okay, so there are 4 terms and there are a total 8 terms are there. Now group them as you can take common some terms. This term ypz in ypz z px, this term is taken with this term, say this term. Okay, these two are taken into single bracket. So why? Because you can manipulate something out of this, because here you can see ypz zpx and here the reverse order is there, zpx ypz. So it is a commutator bracket between ypz comma zpx. Similarly you can group other 3 brackets like this, and now AB comma CD commutator bracket relation you have, I have proved it. So use this relation for each of the brackets. So this will give you 4 terms, this bracket will give you 4 such terms, this bracket will give you, so total terms will be 16 now. For each bracket there will be 4 terms, so 16 terms are there, and many terms should cancel because y comma z commutator bracket 0, pz px is 0, y px 0, so these are 0, but this is not 0 because pz z, so z pz is your ih cut, so this will be minus ih cut, and this all other things are commutating. One should survive again. I am finding this, yes, this one, because z pz is there, so here ih cut will be there. So put the value of 2 commutator brackets, those 2 are survivals, and put those values from the above, and you will write ih cut, take the common. So the first is xpy minus second is ypx, so this is nothing but LZ operator. So ih cut LZ is equal to Lx Ly, so Lx Ly operator commutator is equal to ih cut Lz. That means the angular momentum components are not commutating, they are not commutating operators, so they should not have simultaneous eigenfunction. And similarly you can prove in cyclic way all other commutator relations between 2 components of angular momentum. Now you can show simply using those above proofs that x to the power m comma p is equal to im h cut x to the power m minus 1. It can be proved very easily. Just put there are 2 methods. You can use the bracket formulas, bracket identities, and follow it, or here you can use direct formula also. See, I would prefer it is for you, that is the commutator bracket relations or identities can be used to prove it, but here it is easier to prove by this method where x to the power n px is directly operated on a function psi, and just break it down and do the UV method. 2 terms will be cancelled each other and the rest of the term is this, so the result will follow. And here it is a function of the operator, that is x function of the position operator. So fx cap comma p, similar technique, using the similar technique as I have discussed here, you can prove it also. It is very easy to prove. See, the result comes dfx dx, but the final result having x cap, because x are multiplying operators, so in place of x you can anytime write x cap, that is the x operator. So this is the required relationship. And the second one is very interesting and tricky one. This should be proved by you. And what is that? X comma px to the power n is equal to ih cut n px to the power n minus 1. if the power is on the position coordinate, then the result will be the position operator, but with the diminished power by 1. Similarly for px also, for the momentum also, but it is to be proved. It is somehow in some way it is tricky, but you can do it. I have the confidence. So the second one, you have to prove it. Now this is a very basic question, that is, evaluate Poisson bracket for the classical mechanics between the two coordinates, the coordinate and momentum, and similarly compare with the commutator bracket of x and p with the result arised from the Poisson bracket. Now if you remember, the Poisson bracket has the form of this, and xp will give you the form, the result 1. But here in the commutator bracket, x comma or p operator, commutator bracket gives you IH cut. So if you divide this commutator bracket by IH cut, it will give you 1. So the Poisson bracket, there is a relationship between classical and quantum mechanics, that is, in case of classical result you should multiply it with IH cut, or you can say in case of quantum mechanical brackets you can divide by IH cut, that is the H cut. I has the square magnitude 1 minus 1, but H cut is the reduced Planck constant. This is the difference between the classical world and the quantum world. I have discussed it in my classical mechanics lecture, but it is relevant to show it here again, and it will clear your viewpoint on the classical and the quantum mechanics. Now the last one, show that the commutator of two Hermitian operators is anti-Hermitian. It is very interesting and very useful. This should be remembered. Those all proofs, all problems, the results are very important. I will suggest you to remember it. By practicing you should remember it, otherwise you can't remember for the sake of remembering. So now the last topic is, if two operators are Hermitian, say A and B, so A dagger is A and B dagger is B, then their commutator bracket is anti-Hermitian. So start from their commutator bracket with dagger. AB whole dagger is AB minus B whole dagger. So AB whole dagger minus B whole dagger, and you know AB whole dagger is B dagger A dagger, and this is A dagger B dagger, reverse this order after daggering. So this will be, now B dagger is B, AB and A dagger is A, so BA minus AB will result, and B operator minus A, and minus is taken out. So B operator BA minus AB, and here you can see it is written AB minus BA but with a negative sign, so it is correct. So this is your commutator bracket between A and B, so minus is there. Now what is the result? AB dagger, that is Hermitian conjugate of commutator bracket AB, is equal to negative of the commutator bracket AB. So the AB commutator bracket is anti-Hermitian. Okay. Similarly, you can prove that the anti-commutator bracket, it is, I have not discussed earlier, the anti-commutator bracket is written like this. It is A comma C is equal to AC plus CA. You can prove it that if A and C are Hermitian operators, then this anti-commutator bracket is Hermitian. Just reverse of this. If two operators are Hermitian, then their commutator is anti-Hermitian, and if two operators are Hermitian, then their anti-commutator is Hermitian. And you should prove it, very simple. Follow this technique again using this formula, not minus, use plus while expanding the bracket, so you can get this result, and this will be remembered and this will be used also in my next lectures. So I am stopping here, and thank you for listening.